Welcome back to the Gold IRA Blueprint podcast. Today, we're taking a deep dive into a topic that's probably on a lot of your minds as you plan for retirement. How to safeguard your hard-earned savings, especially from those curveballs life throws our way. You know those black swan events?
Oh, yeah.
The kind of events no one sees coming,
Yeah.
but when they hit hard.
Exactly. Think about the 2008 financial crisis, or even the more recent COVID-19 pandemic. These events, they weren't just headlines, they had a real impact on people's lives and their financial well-being.
Absolutely. And when it comes to your retirement nest egg, you want that extra layer of protection. You've worked hard, you've saved diligently, and you deserve to feel confident that your savings are secure no matter what the future holds. So today, we're going to explore how a gold IRA could potentially offer that added layer of protection. And as a bonus, we'll even touch on why they're becoming a go-to strategy for estate planning too.
That's right. Gold IRAs offer a unique way to diversify your retirement portfolio and potentially shield your savings from the volatility we often see in traditional markets.
And before we jump in, if you're looking for a helpful guide to navigate the world of gold IRAs, make sure to visit goldirablueprint.com/exclusive for a free checklist that'll walk you through choosing the right gold IRA company for your needs.
It's a great resource to get you started on the right foot. Now, to truly grasp the potential of gold IRAs, we need to understand a bit about the history of gold as an asset. For centuries, gold has been considered a safe haven asset. It's held value through wars, recessions, and all sorts of economic turmoil.
It's fascinating, isn't it?
Mm.
Gold has this almost mythical quality to it. During the stagflation of the 1970s, for example, when inflation was rampant and the stock market struggled, gold saw significant gains. And again, during the dot-com bubble burst in the early 2000s, gold remained relatively stable, offering a sense of security when other assets were plummeting.
It's almost like a natural hedge against uncertainty. When traditional markets get shaky, people instinctively turn to gold. It's tangible, it's finite, and it has this intrinsic value that transcends the whims of Wall Street.
You bring up a really interesting point about tangibility. Unlike stocks, which are essentially digital entries in a computer system, gold is a physical asset. You can hold it in your hand. You can feel its weight. And that sense of tangibility can be incredibly comforting,
Yeah.
especially in times of financial uncertainty.
Exactly, and that tangibility contributes to its historical resilience. Now, when we talk about those black swan events, it's not just about the stock market taking a dip. These events have ripple effects across the entire economy. They impact real estate, businesses, and even government policies.
It's like a domino effect. And sometimes those dominoes fall in ways we could never have predicted, like
Right.
the global supply chain disruptions we saw during the COVID-19 pandemic.
Yeah.
No one could have foreseen the extent of those disruptions, and they had a significant impact on economies worldwide.
Right. And during these unprecedented events, traditional diversification strategies, having a mix of stocks and bonds, might not provide the level of protection you'd hope for. And that's where the unique features of gold IRAs can come into play.
Okay, so let's talk about gold IRAs specifically. Now, I know some people might picture burying gold bars in their backyard, but it's not quite that adventurous. We're talking about a specific type of IRA that holds physical gold, typically in the form of bullion or coins, held in secure, IRS-approved depositories.
That's right. It's not about stuffing gold under your mattress. It's a structured, regulated way to incorporate gold into your retirement savings. The IRS has strict rules about the types of gold that qualify, the purity standards, and where it needs to be stored. All of this is designed to protect your investment and ensure its legitimacy.
So there's a real framework in place. You're not just going rogue and buying gold on a whim. And I think that's important for people to understand, especially if they're new to the concept of gold IRAs. It's a legitimate investment strategy with its own set of rules and regulations, just like any other type of IRA. Now, we mentioned earlier that gold IRAs can also have some interesting benefits when it comes to estate planning.
Absolutely. This is an aspect that often gets overlooked, but it can be incredibly valuable. You see, with a gold IRA, you're not just protecting your wealth during your retirement years, you're also potentially creating a more resilient legacy for your loved ones.
So you're not just thinking about yourself, you're thinking about the generations that come after you. You're ensuring that they have a piece of that stability and security that gold can offer.
Exactly. And we'll delve deeper into the estate planning advantages of gold IRAs in a bit. But for now, let's shift gears and explore how gold IRAs actually work in practice.
All right, so let's unpack the mechanics of a gold IRA. How do you actually set one up? What are the fees involved? And what are the key things you need to know before taking the plunge?
Well, setting up a gold IRA is similar to opening a traditional IRA. But instead of holding paper assets like stocks and bonds, you'll be holding physical gold.
Okay. So it's the same basic IRA structure, but with a different type of asset inside. Makes sense.
Exactly. The first step is to choose a custodian, which is a financial institution that will hold and manage your gold IRA. It's important to select a reputable custodian with a proven track record in the precious metals industry.
So it's not like you're just storing this gold at home. You're working with a specialized custodian who understands the ins and outs of gold IRAs.
That's right. Once you've chosen a custodian, you can then fund your IRA. You can do this by rolling over funds from an existing IRA or 401k, or by making direct contributions.
So it's flexible in terms of funding. You can move money from existing retirement accounts, or you can start fresh with new contributions.
Exactly. Now, once your account is funded, you'll work with your custodian to select the specific gold products you want to invest in. This is where it gets interesting. You have options, depending on your preferences. You can choose gold bullion, which are bars of gold, or gold coins, which often have numismatic value in addition to their gold content. You can also invest in gold ETFs, which are exchange-traded funds that track the price of gold.
So you've got bullion, coins, ETFs. That's a decent range of choices, and I imagine each option has its own pros and cons. Right.
Absolutely. Bullion is often considered the most straightforward way to invest in gold. While coins can offer additional value if they're rare or historically significant, ETFs offer the convenience of trading on the stock market, but they don't provide the same tangibility as physical gold.
It's all about finding the right fit for your individual needs and preferences. And I bet those preferences can vary widely depending on someone's risk tolerance, their investment goals, even their personal beliefs about gold.
That's a great point. Some people are drawn to the historical significance of gold, while others appreciate its potential as an inflation hedge.
It's a multifaceted asset for sure. Now let's talk about fees. Are there any specific fees associated with gold IRAs that people should be aware of?
Yes, just like with traditional IRAs, there are fees involved in managing a gold IRA. You'll typically have custodian fees, which cover the costs of administering your account and storing your gold, as well as potential transaction fees when you buy or sell gold. It's important to compare fees across different custodians and make sure you understand what you're paying for.
Transparency is key. You want to make sure you're working with a custodian who's upfront about their fee structure. You know, we talk a lot about black swan events and economic uncertainty, and it makes me wonder, isn't gold itself a volatile asset? How can we be sure it will hold its value during all crises?
That's a really insightful question. And it's true that gold prices can fluctuate, sometimes quite significantly. However, it's important to remember that gold's volatility tends to be different from the volatility we see in stocks or bonds. Gold often moves inversely to the stock market, meaning when stocks go down, gold tends to go up.
So it's that counter-cyclical nature that makes it so appealing during times of uncertainty. It's like a seesaw. When one side goes down, the other goes up.
Exactly. Now, it's important to note that gold isn't a guaranteed hedge against every economic downturn. There have been periods where gold has underperformed. But historically speaking, it has demonstrated a remarkable ability to retain its value over long periods. And remember, we're talking about a long-term investment strategy here, not a get-rich-quick scheme.
It's about building a foundation of stability within your retirement portfolio, a way to potentially weather the storms and preserve your wealth over the long haul. Now, earlier we touched on the estate planning benefits of gold IRAs. Can we dive a bit deeper into that? I think it's an area that could be really beneficial for our listeners who are thinking about their legacy and how to best protect their loved ones.
Absolutely. One of the key advantages of a gold IRA is that you can pass it down to your heirs, providing them with a tangible asset that has historically held its value through generations, unlike stocks, which are subject to market fluctuations and company performance. Gold has this inherent value that transcends time.
It's almost like passing down a piece of history, a connection to something bigger than the ups and downs of the stock market.
Precisely. And when you pass down a gold IRA, your heirs inherit the tax-advantaged status of the account, which can be incredibly valuable in minimizing their tax burden.
So you're not just passing down the asset itself, you're also passing down the tax benefits associated with it. That's a huge plus, especially when you consider how estate taxes can eat into an inheritance.
Exactly. And by diversifying their inheritance portfolio with gold, your heirs are potentially better positioned to navigate future economic uncertainties. It's like giving them a safety net, a way to protect their financial well-being during turbulent times.
You know, it's really interesting to think about the psychological aspect of inheriting gold. It's not just a financial asset, It's a pantheon representation of your family's legacy,
Oh,
something that connects them to the past and provides a sense of continuity.
that's a great observation. Gold has this emotional resonance that other assets simply don't have. It's been treasured for centuries. And that cultural significance adds another layer of value to it.
It's like a thread that connects generations, a tangible link to the past. Now, I know we've covered a lot of ground here, but I want to make sure we're giving our listeners practical advice they can use. If someone is considering a gold IRA, what are the key things they should keep in mind? What are the red flags to watch out for?
That's a great question. I think one of the most important things is to do your research and choose a reputable custodian. Look for a company with a proven track record, transparent fees, and a commitment to customer service. Don't be swayed by high-pressure sales tactics or promises of guaranteed returns. Remember, gold is a long-term investment, and there are no shortcuts to success.
Solid advice. Don't get caught up in the hype. Take your time, do your due diligence. And speaking of due diligence, if you're feeling a bit overwhelmed by all this information and want a helpful guide to navigate the complexities of gold IRAs, we've got you covered. Head over to goldirablueprint.com/exclusive for a free checklist that'll walk you through the process of choosing the right gold IRA company for your needs.
It's a great resource packed with essential information to guide you on your journey towards financial security.
It's a valuable tool to have in your arsenal. And I think it's important to emphasize that a gold IRA is not about timing the market or trying to get rich quickly. It's about building a resilient portfolio,
Yeah.
a strategy for long-term wealth preservation.
Precisely. It's about understanding that the financial world is cyclical. There will be upswings, there will be downswings. And having a portion of your retirement savings in an asset that has historically held its value through these cycles can provide a sense of security.
It's like having an anchor in a storm. Now let's shift gears for a moment and talk about the broader context of retirement planning. We're living in a time of unprecedented economic uncertainty. Inflation is on the rise, geopolitical tensions are simmering, and the future of traditional retirement vehicles like Social Security is uncertain.
It's a complex landscape to navigate for sure, and it's understandable that many people are feeling anxious about their financial future.
Absolutely. There's this sense of unease, a feeling that the rules of the game are changing, and the strategies that worked for previous generations might not be as effective today.
That's a valid concern. The traditional model of relying solely on stocks, bonds, and 401ks might not be sufficient in this new era of volatility.
And that's where diversification comes in. It's about not putting all your eggs in one basket. It's about spreading your risk across different asset classes, including those that have historically performed well during periods of economic stress.
Exactly. And gold, with its proven track record of resilience, can play a key role in that diversification strategy. It's not about replacing traditional investments entirely, but rather adding a strategic allocation to your portfolio that can potentially cushion the blow during turbulent times.
It's like adding a shock absorber to your financial vehicle. It helps smooth out the bumps in the road and provides a more stable ride.
That's a great analogy. Now, I know some people might be hesitant to invest in gold. They might view it as an outdated relic of the past, something their grandparents would have done, but not relevant in today's modern financial world.
I can understand that perspective. Gold doesn't have the flashiness of tech stocks or the perceived stability of government bonds. It's often seen as this mysterious, even esoteric asset.
But I think it's important to separate perception from reality. Gold is a tangible asset with a rich history and a proven track record of preserving wealth. It's been a store of value for thousands of years, and that intrinsic value is unlikely to disappear anytime soon.
It stood the test of time. Through empires rising and falling, through technological revolutions, through all sorts of societal and economic upheavals. And that resilience speaks volumes.
Exactly. And I think it's worth considering that central banks around the world hold significant reserves of gold. They understand its importance as a hedge against currency devaluation and economic instability.
It's like the ultimate insurance policy for nations. And that same logic applies to individuals. It's about taking proactive steps to safeguard your wealth, to protect what you've worked so hard for.
Precisely. It's about having a plan in place for those unexpected events, those black swan events that can throw everything into disarray.
And I don't want to sound overly pessimistic here, but I think it's important to acknowledge that we're living in a world where these black swan events seem to be happening more frequently. We've had the financial crisis of 2008, the European debt crisis, the COVID-19 pandemic, and now we're seeing geopolitical tensions escalating in various parts of the world.
It's a volatile landscape, and it's understandable that many people are feeling a sense of unease about the future. But rather than succumbing to fear, I think it's important to focus on what we can control. We can't predict when the next black swan event will occur, but we can take steps to prepare for it.
We can diversify our portfolios. We can educate ourselves about different asset classes, and we can consider incorporating investments that have historically held their value during periods of uncertainty.
Exactly. And a gold IRA can be a valuable tool in that preparation process. It's not a guarantee of riches, but it can provide a sense of stability and peace of mind, knowing that you have a portion of your retirement savings in an asset that has weathered countless storms throughout history.
It's like having a financial anchor, something to hold on to when the seas get rough.
Yeah.
And that peace of mind, that sense of security, is priceless.
Absolutely. It's about taking control of your financial future, about empowering yourself to make informed decisions that align with your values and your long-term goals. And remember, if you're interested in exploring the world of gold IRAs and want a step-by-step guide to help you get started, visit goldirablueprint.com/exclusive for our free checklist on choosing the right gold IRA company for your needs.
It's a valuable resource packed with essential information to guide you on your journey toward financial security. As we wrap up today's deep dive, we want to leave you with this thought.
Imagine for a moment that you're facing an unexpected financial challenge, a black swan event that shakes the markets and leaves many people scrambling to protect their savings.
In that moment, what would give you a greater sense of security?
A portfolio heavily weighted in volatile assets that could plummet in value.
Or a diversified portfolio that includes a strategic allocation to gold, an asset that has historically held its value through countless crises?
It's a question worth pondering as you navigate the complexities of retirement planning in this era of uncertainty.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into gold IRAs and black swan events. We hope you found it informative and empowering. Until next time, stay informed, stay curious, and stay gold.